Welcome, welcome to my ex dirty secrets.
The first thing that caught my eye wasn't the suitcase left by the door or the faint perfume lingering in the air. It was the small, leather-bound notebook peeking out from under the bed. It shouldn't have been there. Emma never left things lying around. She was meticulous, almost obsessively neat. But that diary, its spine slightly cracked, the word private etched in faded gold, looked like it had been read and closed in a hurry. My heart pounded. She had just returned from her work trip to Denver, a 3-day conference that apparently ran long. I hadn't questioned it much. She'd shown me the itinerary, even video called once from her hotel room. But something had felt off. Maybe it was the way she smiled too much during that call, or how her eyes darted away whenever I asked about her colleagues. Now, staring at that diary, I felt a strange pull between dread and curiosity. I shouldn't open it, I told myself. But my hands moved anyway. The pages smelled faintly of her perfume. Sweet, floral, familiar. My fingers trembled as I flipped to the first dated entry from the trip. Day 1. I told him I'd miss him, and I meant it. But not in the way he thinks. My stomach turned. Kept reading. Denver feels like a second chance. Like I can finally breathe. Like I'm seen again. He makes me feel alive, like the woman I used to be before the routine, before the silence. Froze. There was no name yet. But the entries spilled on, each word tightening something inside my chest. She described long dinners, unexpected sparks, hands brushing under the table, late-night confessions about how empty she'd felt for years. And then the sentence that shattered everything. Tonight, I didn't stop it. My hands went cold. My breath hitched so sharply I almost dropped the diary. I reread that line over and over, as if by repetition I could make it mean something else. Anything else. Maybe it was a metaphor. Maybe she was writing fiction. But the details kept coming. The hotel room number, the color of his tie, the way she forgot where she ended and he began. I slammed the diary shut. The sound echoed through the room like a gunshot. For hours, I sat on the edge of the bed, the diary pressed against my thigh, staring into nothing. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, to throw the evidence on the table, watch her face crumble under the weight of her own words. Another part wanted to pretend I'd never found it. That ignorance might be easier than the truth. When Emma finally came upstairs, humming softly to herself, I could barely look at her. She looked radiant, hair still damp from the shower, cheeks flushed from the heat. "Hey, you okay?" she asked, smiling as she toweled her hair. "You look pale." "I'm fine," I lied. My voice cracked. "How was Denver?" Her smile flickered, barely noticeable, but I saw it. "Busy. Exhausting, actually. You know how these conferences go." I nodded, pretending to listen, pretending my world hadn't just tilted off its axis. That night, I lay awake next to her, watching the ceiling shadows shift with every passing car. She turned in her sleep, her arm draping over my chest like nothing had changed. But everything had. The diary sat hidden in the drawer beside me. Every few minutes, my hand twitched toward it, like a magnet I couldn't resist. The next morning I drove her to work, just like always. She kissed my cheek before stepping out, her lips soft, practiced. "Love you," she said lightly. The word stung. Parked 2 blocks away and waited. She didn't go into her office. Instead, she walked down the street to the cafe across from it. And there he was. A man in a navy suit, mid-30s, confident smile. They hugged. Too long. Too close. I wanted to believe it was innocent. I wanted to, but her diary wouldn't let me. They sat together, talking, laughing. Her hand brushed his across the table, and that's when I knew. This wasn't some fleeting mistake. It was a continuation. When she got home that evening, I was in the living room, diary open on my lap. Her face drained of color the moment she saw it. "Where did you find that?" she whispered. "Under the bed," I said quietly. "You left it there." She stepped forward, then stopped, eyes darting between the diary and me. "Tom, it's not what you think." I laughed bitterly. "Then what is it, Emma?" Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you found someone who makes you feel alive again. Tears welled in her eyes. Please let me explain. Explain what? That you lied. That you spent 3 nights with someone else while I was here thinking you were working late. Her silence was answer enough. For a long time neither of us spoke. Just the sound of our breathing, hers shallow, mine ragged. Finally she said, I didn't mean for it to happen. I was lonely. You've been so distant lately. Everything felt gray. And he made it colorful again. Snap. She flinched. It wasn't about him. It was about me. I felt invisible. Forgotten. Her words cut deep because, in a way, I understood. Life had dulled between us. Routine, quiet dinners, polite kisses. I'd felt the same emptiness she described, but I never sought to fill it with someone else. Over the next few days we barely spoke. The house felt heavy, air thick with unspoken words. I reread her diary more than once, torturing myself with every detail. But as I read, I noticed something new. Entries written after she returned. He texted again today. I didn't reply. Can't. I see what I've done and it makes me sick. Tom doesn't deserve this. I've broken something I can't fix. I want to tell him. But how do you confess to destroying someone's faith in you? The words didn't erase the betrayal, but they cracked something open inside me. Some fragile understanding of her guilt, her confusion. Still, forgiveness wasn't easy. A week later, she came to me with the diary in her hands. I've deleted his number, she said softly. I ended it the day I got back. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know I'm not running anymore. I'll tell you everything if you want the truth. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since Denver. Her face was tired, tear-streaked, raw. Why did you keep writing? I asked. Because I needed to see myself clearly, she whispered. To face what I'd done. To remember why I can't lose you. The words sat between us like fragile glass. Transparent, breakable, dangerous. I didn't forgive her that night. I didn't even know if I could. But I let her sit beside me and we talked. Really talked. About loneliness. About the quiet ways love can fade when no one tends to it. And for the first time in months, I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with. Flawed, human, hurting. Weeks passed. The diary stayed on the shelf, unopened, untouched. Sometimes, when the air felt heavy with the past, I'd glance at it and remember the ache of those words. Then one evening while she was cooking, I noticed something new. A second notebook on the counter, bright red this time, titled Healing. She caught me looking and smiled, tentative but real. This one's for us, she said. Maybe we were foolish for trying again. Maybe trust, once broken, never truly mends. But as I watched her stir the pasta, humming softly like she used to, I realized something. Sometimes love isn't about what you can forgive, it's about what you're willing to rebuild. And even if the foundation was cracked, it was still ours.